Through our baptism, we are all called in a unique way to respond to the Spirit's invitation to be in loving relationship with God, one another, and creation as sister and brother. Your journey is specific to you. Is religious life in the Franciscan tradition one path you are considering? You have many vocational choices: the married life, single life, and religious life. Through the process of discernment, you will discover which option fits you best. Discernment includes prayer, talking with those you trust, becoming acquainted with our sisters, entering into spiritual direction, and meeting with a vocation minister to learn more about our way of life. We're here today to be in conversation with you about religious life. Mary Beth and I have both made a permanent commitment to Franciscan religious life as Sisters of St. Francis of Philadelphia. Mary Beth, I know why I chose this Franciscan gospel life, but why did you choose such a countercultural lifestyle?
Well, that's a good question, Diane. As you know, I was a nurse before I entered, and I got a lot of meaning out of that. But there was something more that was, I wasn't quite sure what it was. And I was thinking, what is going to be the best way for me to deepen my relationship with God? And so I was searching for the answer to that question. What is the best way to nurture and deepen that relationship? And that's really the heart of what drew me to religious life.
Relationship is really the core for me too. I was also very inspired and attracted by the example of St. Francis of Assisi.
Oh, yes.
I wanted a life that was about living simply, and
Absolutely.
our culture seems sometimes like it's so much about not that, just gathering more, focused on more, having more, getting more, climbing the ladder.
Yeah.
I wanted a life that was about less stuff and deeper meaning. And I really wanted to have other people who shared that value with me, that could support me in those same values and who desired to be about service, serving God and others.
Absolutely, exactly. I mean, that's what drew me. The Franciscan charism, I was really drawn to that. The Franciscan values that guide our life, the values of contemplation, conversion, poverty, humility, they just spoke to me, and really is what drew me. Is that what you were talking about?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Those Franciscan values, as Franciscans, our primary value is relationship. But those other values of our third order rule help us live that out.
Yes.
Now, I certainly didn't have those words when I was first exploring religious life, or even in formation. I didn't fully understand what those values meant. I grew in that over the years, but I knew they expressed something that was the deepest desire of my heart.
Exactly. I felt the same way. I was wondering, too, how did your family feel?
Well,
Your parents?
my family was less than thrilled to begin with. For them, it was a bit of a shock and a surprise and a struggle. But as they got to know the sisters, and they saw, most importantly, that I was happy in this choice, then they became very supportive.
Yeah.
And over the years, it's like they've become part of the extended family. Our sisters support my family. My family is supportive of our sisters and our ministries.
Yeah.
So each sister, I think, has her own unique experience with families.
Yes.
Some are very supportive right away. Others struggle with the idea to begin with. How about you? What about your family?
Yeah, well, my parents were very supportive, and they were very happy. But what really helped was they saw that I found a home.
Yes.
You know, I found a home living religious life in the community. And once they met the sisters were very welcoming, very hospitable. And that was really what helped. The other piece was that I was nurtured. I found a place where I was supported in my prayer life, and which was very important to me. So being in community is what helps deepen my own spirituality. It's where I feel supported.
Me too.
And that really is what's so important to me.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Prayer is where we come together and nurture what really matters. And I find my prayer life is so enriched by our prayer together, by having that support.
Mhm.
Ministry is important, but prayer is core.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes that's a hard balance.
Mhm.
In my local community, we tend to keep morning as a time for our personal prayer before we go off to our day of ministry. And then at the end of the day, we come back and share a meal and then share evening prayer together.
Yeah.
And then over the weeks, we practice faith sharing on a regular basis. We attend daily mass whenever we can. And we do other forms of ritual and prayer and celebration that help us to mutually support one another in our spiritual life and growth.
Yeah.
How about yourself? What works for you in your local community?
Well, and I find prayer is the heart of our life together. So we pray in the evening together. We faith share. The prayer, my own personal prayer, I find in the morning is the best time because it helps really to center my day and helps me to prepare for the day.
Yes.
Because it's from that prayer space that we go out and minister to people.
Yes.
So that's important in my morning, to really find that time to begin my day in prayer.
I tend to be more of a nighttime person, so for me, the evening is oftentimes my personal prayer time. And that's, again, sort of the uniqueness of each of us in our relationship with God.
Yeah. Now, how about ministry? How's that going for you?
Really well. I really enjoy teaching at Newman University. That's where I am now. And I've been sort of a wandering Franciscan. I've been blessed to serve in a lot of different places, in parish ministry, campus ministry, teaching on colleges. But I'm really loving being back in our own sponsored ministry. Newman's our college.
Yes, for sure.
And in working with our sisters, others of our sisters in ministry. Each time that I've moved, it's been an experience of our Franciscan call to mutual discernment. I discern with leadership and dialogue with leadership about where God was calling me, and they would confirm that then and mission me. So for me, being in ministry has always been both a personal call and a congregational call, and a sense of community support in that, discerning together where I would be happy, where the needs were, but also where I could serve God and the community with my particular gifts and talents.
Exactly. I find the same thing. I'm at St. Francis Hospital now. Yes, I'm working as a chaplain in our pastoral care department. As you know, I was a nurse for many years, but this was just the natural progression for where I was feeling called to serve. And so I went back to school and got my master's in pastoral counseling. And that's the nice thing about our community. It's in dialogue, and not everybody comes with a degree.
Yes.
But we're afforded the opportunity for education and what is going to prepare us best to be of service and ministry and where our gifts are.
Absolutely.
And so I'm delighted to be working in pastoral ministry right now.
And I'm sure you're such a gift to the people that you minister with.
They're a gift to me also.
Isn't that great? Our ministry, our sense of ministry is very much that mutual give and take.
Absolutely.
That's so important.
Yeah.
We have a lot of say in where we go and what we do, but it's always in that spirit of discernment. We're not just free agents.
Exactly.
So how do our vows fit into all of this for you, Mary Beth?
Well, that's a good question. I know the vow of obedience. People wonder, well, what does that mean? Well, obedience means to listen. And it's really to listen to that voice of God within.
Yes.
To take the time for quiet and prayer, to allow God to speak to us. And it's also to listen to those around us, those who know us, our mentors, our spiritual directors. What are the needs of the community? What are the needs of the society at large? So obedience is a real listening to what the needs are, and then to really take that in prayer and to talk to others when we're making our decisions. Just like the discernment to religious life, it's the same thing. To pray and also to seek others' input.
That's a great description of our Franciscan understanding of mutual obedience.
Exactly.
For me, the vow of poverty is also just characteristically Franciscan. It's very meaningful to me. I'm attracted to Francis's example, but I certainly don't live on the street or walk around barefoot the way Francis did. But it is about sharing what I have and what we have together.
Yes.
I have what I need to live and minister, but by choosing to live simply and by sharing things in common, I'm not tied down to a bunch of stuff. I'm freed from the demands of owning and maintaining a house and dealing individually with things like car insurance and all those sort of logistical details of life. We're able to share those things together, and by doing so, it frees each of us to be able to respond to the needs of God's people more freely.
Exactly, to be about mission.
Absolutely.
Because that's really what we're about.
Absolutely.
Mission. So we've had some good insights on the vows of poverty, obedience. I was wondering, what does the vow of chastity mean to you, and how do you live it?
That's the one people often have the most questions about, but they're afraid to ask them. For me, it's about total love.
Yes.
I'm free to respond in love to God's people and to be in relationship as sister with many people, with all people. And that's essential to me as a Franciscan, that sister isn't a title, it's how I'm in relationship with people. So by choosing to be celibate and not having a husband or children, I'm able to be in a much broader commitment, but still deep relationship as sister with other people, with my religious community, with my sisters, my Franciscan sisters, with those with whom I minister, and also with my personal family and friends. But then to broaden that out, to be in relationship and to be concerned for all brothers and sisters throughout the world, especially those who are poor, and even our non-human brothers and sisters in all creation.
Yeah, well, there's a passage in the gospel and where Jesus says, love God with all your mind, all your heart, all your soul, and all your strength.
Yes.
And love your neighbor as yourself. And for me, that's the key. What is the best way for me to do that? To live that call to love others as God loves us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's clear that we love our Franciscan life, Mary Beth.
Yes.
So what advice would you give to someone who's interested in religious life but has more questions?
Well, if you're feeling drawn to religious life and are wondering if you're being called, we would welcome you to give us a call or come visit us. Our sisters would love to be in conversation with you, because discernment is a process, and the more information you can gather, I think the more it helps you in that discernment. So if you feel you're being drawn to religious life, and you'd like to talk to us, or you'd like to learn more about the Sisters of St. Francis of Philadelphia, give us a call and speak with one of our sisters in Vocation Ministry, and we'd be happy to talk with you, or if you'd like to visit us. So many blessings, and you certainly are in our prayers.
Thank you for spending this time with us.